Okay, so we are live, and as usual, it takes some time before you start listening me because the YouTube and LinkedIn will take their own time. So I'm just monitoring it myself. And as usual, we are here to talk about the PMP exam content outline task. And we will explore the conversation by exploring some of your questions related to PMP exam. Um, I'm just waiting. When I see the feedback back, then we get started. Okay, looks like it started working, at least for me. And I hope you can hear me well. I am your facilitator for this particular session, Saket Bansal, and I'm here to talk about how can we learn project management with the help of PMP exam content outline. And I have prepared one particular ECO content. You call it exam content outline content. Today we are talking about lead a team and skills around leadership. And then we get into your specific query related to PMP exam preparation. This is our 10th episode. So some of you who are joining us first time, feel free to check our previous live sessions of the last 10 weeks around. They can help you in covering the whole business domain. We have covered all the 4 tasks of business domain. And then we have covered around 5 tasks of people domain already. And today we are covering the 6th task of a people domain. In a way, it's overall our 10th episode. So the total number of tasks in a PMP exam content outline are 35. So today we will cover 10th of that particular out of those 35 tasks. So welcome to the session, and do let me know if you can hear me well. Everything is looking good to me, at least from here when I see all these interfaces, and then we get started and start talking about a particular ECO topic for today. Okay, so I move. I'm just waiting for some feedback, then I get started. If you're watching us on the LinkedIn, then you can just comment on the LinkedIn. It will reach here. It takes little time, especially in the beginning, before things starts appearing to me. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can comment there as well. It will also reach us, and we can take care of your queries and comment from that point onwards. Okay, so I start with my prepared content. Do let me know if you have any difficulty in attending this particular session. I will keep little eye on the chat window as well. So today, my plan is to talk about task 2. And this task is relatively a huge task. And I personally feel this task influences the whole 42% of your people domain. It is just not limited to a one particular task. And this one is something help us in understanding the role of a project manager when it comes to lead a team, demonstrating leadership activities. That all is covered in this particular task. So welcome everyone. Welcome Archana to the session. We just get started and we will look into the leadership, lead a team task now in detail. So this task has many subtasks, and I was really struggling to keep the session short enough as well as detailed enough. And many of these things get covered in other tasks as well. So I'm trying to balance my act, but let's see how it turned out to be. And you can definitely ask question if you have a follow-up thing coming in this area. Just a brief, we are focusing on the ECO exam content outline, and we are focusing on task 2, and overall people domain covers the 42% of your exam content. Now, it's all about leadership. It's all about leading a team. And I want to start with our 12 principles of project management. This is something which is covered in PMBOK 7. The PMP exam is not going to test you by giving questions like which of the following is a project management principle, not expected. But these principles help us in understanding how should we guide our behavior, what should we do when we are doing project management. If we understand these tasks, these principles well, they guide various people domain and process domain activity when we are dealing with our questions. So since in this particular section, I am focusing more on the leadership, I want to highlight that there are various project management principles which are focusing on the leadership related topic, which is covered in the task 2. The principle 1 itself focuses on that we should be diligent, respectful, and caring steward. It is basically pointing out towards servant leadership. So we'll talk about servant leadership in detail. But the idea here is the expectation from project manager is that I should be empathetic to the people, to my team member, as well as to the stakeholders. I need to take care of their needs and expectation. I need to work with the long-term relationship and long-term view in mind rather than focusing on transactional relationship with them. So that's a PM principle remind us to do that. The PM principle number 4 also focuses on clearly tells me create a collaborative team environment. So the idea of new way of doing project management is that we create an environment for project. We create a collaborative environment where people are supporting each other. We develop the right skill set in the individuals. We help them in getting trained and mentor. And by doing all this, we create a right environment for project delivery. So again, an act of leadership. I am focusing on developing my team member and facilitating the conversation so that they get things done. Clear cut principle focusing on the leadership behavior, demonstrate leadership behavior. So we know that yes, this is something we need to focus on demonstrating the leadership all the time in our behavior. So what is leadership? It's more about inspiring and influencing, and that's coming in the principle number 5 also very, very clearly. The principle number 7 also focuses on the leadership and people domain act, focusing on effectively engage with stakeholders. So you should be negotiating well with them, you should be inspiring them, you should be mentoring them, training them, because by working with the stakeholders and the team, you make sure the project achieve their desired objective. Other principles also point out towards the leadership, but I feel personally that these 4 are very clearly demonstrating or focusing on the project manager should behave as a leader. Focus on value, in my view, also focuses a lot on ensuring that we have a clear vision and everybody is having common understanding of the value. Act of leadership, demonstrating flexibility, focusing on taking the project and achieving the future state, facilitating interactions and change. All these are definitely influencing and asking project manager to demonstrate leadership skill, but these 4 are more pointing towards that. So just a reminder that yes, our PM principles are also reminding us to demonstrate leadership skills on a regular basis. Now we go forward and we see that, okay, let's see it in detail. Now, sometimes you have this confusion, leadership versus management. So first thing is there is nothing like a good and bad. As a project manager, I probably need to have a leadership skills more, and I also need to have a management skills. In my view, I map your PMP exam content outline, the business domain and people domain area of your PMP exam is more towards leadership behavior, the leadership style of influencing and inspiring people, whereas a process domain more focuses on the management part of your project manager personality. In general, whenever you are dealing with the question, you should give preference to demonstrate the leadership behavior. Now, what is leadership behavior? It's more about finding the right thing, setting up the right vision, inspiring people to achieve that right vision, nurturing them, developing people, make sure that they have a nice environment, nice support, by way of developing people, supporting them, setting up the right path, and influencing them and inspiring them, getting things done. That's a leadership way of working. Whereas a management way of working is lay out the process, have some kind of tools and technique, checklist, procedures, some kind of variance reports, continuous monitoring and reporting. And by way of having these layout procedures, we get things done, we follow the right path. That's the management way of working. Now, management way of working is more about following a path which is defined. Leadership is all about setting up the right direction for the path. Because if we just focus on management, we may keep following some paths which are not leading us to the right destination. And if we just have a leadership behavior, we may set up the right goal, we have set up the inspiration, but the whole momentum, whole process, and the sustenance may not be there until unless it is supported by the right management procedures. So we need to have, as a project manager, good combination of leadership and management skills. And our PMP exam content outline, especially people domain and business domain, help us in focusing on leadership. But in case you are dealing with the question, try to show more influence towards leadership behavior if the choice is coming between leadership and management in your multiple choice question. So that's a kind of a reminder you need to focus when you are dealing with your questions. I just need to rename it. We can say, else it will confuse people. We are talking about lead a team, else it will be something confusing. Moving forward, so we learned that yes, there are PM principles. Yeah, that is something we learned, and we kind of inferred that some 4 of the 12 principles are clearly showing about the leadership and people behavior, and we also looked into the difference between leadership and management. Now I'm getting into one by one the task or a subtask of this particular task 2. So it talks about setting up a clear mission and vision, supporting diversity and inclusion. I'm taking 2 tasks in this particular slide. So leaders are expected to create a right alignment. We should show the path to the team. Where are we heading toward? And this path or the direction is something which must be shared by everyone, shared by the stakeholders, shared by the team. If we don't have a shared vision, if we don't have a shared goal, then laying out a process and trying to achieve it is anyway going to be very difficult. So it's the act of leadership where you show what is important, you show the big picture. If I'm working as a project manager, as soon as my project gets started, I may have a project charter with me, I may have an input like business cases with me, I may interact with the stakeholders, and I need to set up the clear vision for my project team with the help of those particular information and artifacts and interaction with the stakeholder. So first they see what are they trying to achieve as a part of this project, and also see how that achievement helps the organization in going forward, what kind of outcome we are generating. So vision is not a very detailed steps, but it is clarity of common shared outcome, common shared goal, which help us in clarifying our doubts and also negotiating requirements when we are doing detailed analysis of various project related work. So my goal, with the help of stakeholder, I may not be the only guy who create the shared vision, because it is not my vision alone, it's a stakeholder's vision. So I need to ensure that we have a shared vision for us as a project. Now I should put this vision in such a way so that it inspire people. It should attract the logical mind as well as emotional mind. It should be easy to remember and something which people desire to achieve. It should be not very simple to achieve. We should put some challenging vision there. And at the same time, it should be realistic enough. Now, these things are very standard things which you hear whenever you talk about vision. Vision is like you are talking from the future. It should have inspirations and all. So same thing is relevant for project visions as well, and your task as a project manager as well. Many times, the role of a leadership is communication. The role of the leadership is inspiring people. And we can't inspire people if we can't put our communication in the right way. So we need to put the vision in a right way so that people really care for it. And that's an act of leadership. If I can't formulate and communicate the goal of project in such a way which inspire people, then it means I am lacking the leadership skill. So I need to develop that. That's the only thing which becomes an input for me. So as a project manager, I need to clearly set up the vision. It should be inspirational and must be shared with the stakeholder. And I need to keep repeating it in various milestone reviews, in a sprint reviews. I need to remind people that what are we trying to achieve together, what is our goal, so that we can do detailed discussion in the right alignment manner. Now, when I set up the right vision, people know where they have to go, then my focus should be on building the capability in the team. I can say, okay, I got it. Now I need to get the right people in the group. And these right people should have the desired skills, sense of ownership, so that they are inspired to achieve that particular vision. So here I am focusing on some of the ideas. I need to empower the team. I need to ensure that I am supporting team building activities. I need to create a clear sense of ownership. Now somebody will say, how do you do that? Sense of ownership will come when I engage people. I need to remember as a leader, I don't have to dictate, do this, do this, do this. The more I dictate, more my team member get less engaged. Like they will detach from the whole work. They will just think, oh, I need to do whatever my manager is saying. So I need to engage people. I need to ask them what we should do here. I need to make them analyze their problem so that they come up with the action items and plan so that they really own it. They really feel that this is something created by me. So I need to create an environment which creates sense of ownership, which empowers the team to find out how they should operate. And this can only be done when we create a trust and connection between our team members. Now, in order to do that, one of the important thing is that focusing on diversity and inclusiveness. So the idea here is we cannot create a creative solution if we have a one type of people only. So as a project manager, I need to remember whenever I am creating the right team, I need to bring diversified skills. The diversity could be based on the thought process, based on the gender, based on the geography, based on the region, based on the language, because when we bring different kind of people, they think differently and they might be able to see the things which one style of thinking may not be able to discover it. The need of diversity varies from project to project, but in general, if I'm dealing with a question and I'm not getting very clarity about it, by default, I understand as a project leader, I need to promote diversity in the team because I want to mitigate the future risk. The diversity and inclusive way of working help us in forecasting the problem and validating the assumption in the advance. At the same time, when I'm building team building activities, when I'm creating collaborative culture, I need to also educate my team that we want to empower you. We must create a sense of ownership. At the same time, I need to also coach and mentor you on diversity so that we should be able to work with diversified people. So that is my role. If you face a question where the team member is suggesting, why don't we have a similar kind of people so that we don't have a lot of conflict? You don't agree with that idea. You can say, no, we need to have a diversity. So the right answer would be, I will educate my team member on the benefits of diversity. I will make him clear that we need to support the different thoughts because we want to create a creative solution. So that's a part of building the team. You need to promote collaborative decision making. It's a part of your supporting team and empowering team. For developing a collaborative decision making, you might use tools like working agreement or team charters or social agreements so that people know how to talk about the decisions and the problem, and so that we can make our decisions well. And this should lead to the team level unity, where you are creating the environment where people start thinking as a team more rather than the individual. Though the task was just mentioning on diversity and inclusion, but I included other activities because the whole idea of, after having an inspiring vision, is to build the capability in the team and bring the right people in the team, so that they really get inspired by the vision and they have a mechanism to follow the path, which also give them empowerment for decision making and also give a creativity if you are taking care of diversity into it. So these are like a two subtasks, which is helping us to understand as a leader and the behavior, which is pretty much aligned to the PMP exam. Now, these things are not limited to this particular task. They will go throughout your 42% of people domain. But yeah, we are touching them in the form of this task conversation. Now, another task, a subtask here, inspire, motivate, and influence team members. Continuing the previous conversation, I have a team. Yeah. I need to make sure that they are not coming again and again to me for the decisions. They should have a mechanism so that they can talk to each other and they can make decisions by talking to each other. And that's the thing. We can say, I need to have a healthy interaction amongst the team. They should be able to take care of their own conflicts. They should be able to take care of their own decision making. So say if I have a conflict happening in my team and question comes in, what should I do? If I see a preferred option, I should let the team have an agreement on their team charter, which help them in resolving their own conflict. It's a great answer. If I have an option that I will mentor and coach my team so that they can give and receive feedback to each other, they can handle the conflict, great answer. So I need to inspire people in a way with the help of a team contract, with the help of understanding amongst each other, so that they can take care of their day-to-day decision making. Now, the bigger part of this task is around motivation. So you will see this coming here. So see, the whole thing is, how do I influence people? How do I motivate them so that they remain connected and inspired? In your PMP content, traditionally also from PMBOK, various versions of PMBOK, you will see the content coming from Maslow's hierarchy of need, and you probably also see the hygiene theory, which is kind of a little modified version of Maslow's hierarchy of need. So rather than getting into these motivation theories, we do have a separate videos focusing on them. But the idea here is, I need to understand different people get motivated by different elements. As a leader, I need to understand how do I influence them to remain committed to the project goals. And I may need to use different influencer because personalities are different. Somebody may be happy if we provide them sense of belongingness, sense of achievement. Somebody may be happy only when we give a clear-cut monetary reward. As per hygiene theory, it tells that the monetary rewards are just hygiene factor. If you don't give them, people will be demotivated. But in order to focus on motivation, you need to give them good work, give them a sense of achievement, sense of belongingness, sense of purpose, sense of autonomy. And those are the things which makes people motivated. So in general, when I'm dealing with the question, I can say that, okay, I will help people to come up with a social contract like a team charter. I will help them in having a clear understanding of reward and recognition system. And in general, I build the reward and recognition system, which are more focusing on the inspiring vision, with more focused on recognizing the good work and more focused on giving them creativity in their work, different kind of challenges in their work, because I understand the monetary rewards or financial rewards has their limitation. So brief about it, but I do encourage you to get a little bit more detail in Maslow's hierarchy of need. And whenever you deal with the question of motivation, the question might come that this is a situation, what can motivate this guy? Or what, there is a team member or a stakeholder who is going through it. So I probably need to figure out where I put the person into Maslow hierarchy of need or in the hygiene theory. And based on that, I identify what are the options and which option can motivate the person well. So in general, giving them good work, give them autonomy, give them freedom is something will work. So that's my role. I need to inspire people. I need to motivate them. And from a process perspective, this is something which can go in my resource management plan in case you are relating to that. And there should be an understanding of reward and recognition. Some part of it can also go into my team charter, where we have an agreement, how do we reward and recognize people. Reward and recognition is also a very sensitive topic. As a project manager, I should need to understand. It should not happen if I give a reward and recognition to one person, it demotivates the other person. So we need to make sure that these systems are transparent. People know what is happening, why it is happening. And whenever I am doing it, I also remain vigilant that some of our reward and recognition systems should not be creating the negative effects on the overall team performance. So there is no perfect formula. I need to keep looking on the impact of various reward and recognition steps. So that's another leadership behavior which I need to focus on. Going forward, now the idea here is, so I have a team, I set the vision. So that is there. And I am building these people and they are capable of doing things. We learned we got the right people, we got the right agreement, we got the right diversity into it, we got the right motivation into it. Now, what do I do after that? My role is, how do I support this team by way of removing problems in their path so that they can achieve their goal? So my role is not telling them what to do, but my role is creating the environment for them so that they achieve their goal. And that is something we are usually referred with the help of servant leadership. So the idea of servant leadership, which can be understood by the following topic, and this is like a basic belief you should have when you are dealing with your PMP exam, that I need to focus on facilitation rather than directing and doing my own decision making. As a project manager, whenever I dealing with a question, I try to not to make decision. I always try to bring right people in the discussion and make them making the decision. I facilitate making decision. So that's a servant leadership. I am here to serve them. I am here to facilitate the conversation rather than I am here to command them. I am here to direct them. So that's usually we focus. The second thing I do as a servant leader, I keep investing in the capability of my people. So we have a vision, we have a process. Now someone is struggling. I need to provide right training and mentoring for that person. If some problems are coming in the way where team cannot resolve it, I am here to resolve that problem. So handling issues, handling blockers, handling impediments, whatever word you use is more about taking care of those problems. Finally, I need to keep developing more servant leaders so that this way of role modeling, this way of leadership is promoted. And I need to also ensure that we focus on delivering things rather than we focus on our achievements rather than we keep focusing on this is not working, this is not working. So we focus on what has been achieved or what can be achieved rather than what all problems we have. So we bring to a solution mindset. We bring people to a positive side of thinking. We make people think what all is possible rather than what all problems are there in our environment. So this is like a critical thing, usually applied in all your behavior. But having said that, this is not the only way of leadership. So here, the PMI or the PMP exam content outline brings another challenge for you, and it is saying, guys, you need to apply appropriate leadership style. So by default, you apply servant leadership, but you understand that there could be a situation where I need to be directive. So in general, the directive is where project manager is hierarchical and is giving decisions and people are following it. By default, I don't do it until unless I see it's a very emergency situation and I am the best judge in this particular state, and that's why I am following it. So in the exam, be very, very careful taking directive step until unless you are very sure that this is what it is needed. Because some of you might be doing directive leadership style in your day-to-day working. So you need to keep in mind that generally you should be inclining towards the servant leadership way of working. There could be a consultative leadership. So especially when you are the initial stage of the team development and your leadership style also goes hand in hand. So if you have a new team, you just came and met together, you probably want to be make sure that whatever idea they have, they will bring to you, then you make the final decision. That's a consultative style. So say you can suggest your ideas to me, but since it's a very initial stage, I'm not sure how well you understand the problem, I want to take the final decision. So that could be a consultative leadership style where you are not directing, you are open for suggestions, but overall the final say is coming from you. Servant leadership we spoke about. Collaborative leadership or a consensus-driven leadership is kind of extension of servant leadership only, different word in a way, where you want to make sure the team is becoming more and more self-organized. They are the one who takes the decision. Your team charter plays a role and you are taking step back. You are only intervening when they are asking you for some help. So you only remove some of the issues and impediments. You understand this is your desired goal. You want to take to the level where you are letting the team do whatever the right decision making. But it can only be happen when the team has understood how to make decision. They have understood the importance of various goals and the parameters of the project. And now you are sure I don't have to make a decision because I know they will make a better decision than me. So the collaboratively decision making or self-organizing decision making or autonomous team, you should not fear about that. It is not like they will take any call. That's a wrong understanding. The understanding is they will take better call than me. So they will decide better because we have created the right environment. We have provided them the right information. We have given the right training to them. Now, since they can make a better decision, why should I make a poor decision by interfering with them? So that's a collaborative or consensus-based decision making, which is a leadership style where you take a step back. The situational leadership is something which reminds us that depending upon where the team is in their development stage or where a particular team member is, I may need to adapt to my leadership style. So in general, because the project management or a PMP way of working is not very straight line working. It is not like you do always like this. We can have some exam related recommendation, default behavior, but we need to be very careful when we are looking at a question because in a real life, as well as in the exam, I understand the other leadership style also adds value, but it depends upon the context. So this is something I determine appropriate leadership style. Now, we need to analyze team members and stakeholder influence. I know it's a little long task. Yeah, just the final one more slide. And here we can say that I need to have a political awareness of my team member and stakeholders. I need to understand if this guy will speak to this one, what will happen? So we can say some people might be able to influence upward, means they can go to the boss, maybe to your boss, and if they explain something, the boss will listen to them. Many times the people who have experience in the organization, they know the business domain well, their opinions is considered even by the senior people. So I understand this person has upward influence. I can work with him if I want to get something done at an upward level. That's the reason I'm learning it, because it's all about political awareness. It's all about the ability to influence people. So I need to understand people's influence so that I can use those influence also for the benefit of the project. So upward influence is a one type of influence. Then we have the downward influence, which is, you can say that there are some people where subordinate will listen to them. Say team members will listen to them if this guy will say. Many times you may have a subject matter expert, some technical expert, and if he tells something, the engineers will listen to him because of his expertise on that matter. So I understand if there is a critical technical message has to go, I probably work with that person I'm clear if he can speak in that particular matter, it will inspire the people who are downward. So that is a one type of influence. Then we can have a sideward influence, people who are good in networking. So they have a good relationship with their peers. They know many people in the company. They spend time, have an informal interaction with other people. Then I understand these people can get things done in the other departments. If something is stuck and I'm unable to get the information from other project or other department, I can work with those people who have a sideward influence. So whenever I'm dealing with my team member as well as my stakeholder, I know how they can contribute in extending the idea of influence in order to achieve the goal of our project. I may also look at an outward influence direction, which is like people who may have beyond your organization influence. Somebody may have an influence on the vendor. Somebody may have a good connection with the some industry bodies, so they can get the things done even beyond our project or beyond our company. So we can say this person has an outward influence. Our objective is, it is just not my influence as a project manager. I need to include everybody's skills and competency in order to get the project objective done. And that's the leadership style. It is just not me who will be influencing other. I will use other leaders who might be there in my team, because they can also demonstrate act of leadership. And that's the servant leadership also. I need to create more leader in my team, and I need to utilize their potential for that, the objective of our project. So that's a focus on value, deliver the result with the help of act of leadership. Final slide, we need to ensure similarly that different stakeholder, different situation may need a different leadership style. Some people will only listen when you direct them. Yeah, so there is a possibility, but I need to be very careful about it, but there is a possibility. So I need to understand, I need to tailor my leadership approach and style depending upon situation and people. I need to be empathetic all the time. I need to understand other person's situation. I need to understand their different personalities and personas. I need to match my frequency. So I would say that these all three in my mind are the same thing. But it's like, if someone is going at a frequency X, and if I want to talk to him, I need to go to that frequency. So I need to match their say style of speaking, formal, informal, the style of leadership they follow, the style of leadership they will listen to. Then only things can get done. Yeah. So overall, I can only do it when I apply emotional intelligence. And overall, I need to understand that we need to be always transparent when we are working with people, and we need to vary our motivational and work style depending upon situation at hand. So overall, I personally believe this lead a team task will get covered again and again when you are looking at remaining task of people domain, because dealing with the people is all about inspiring them and demonstrating act of leadership. Yeah, so that's something, a topic for today. Okay, so that's the thing. I know it was a little long than before because of a lot of subtasks, but yes, it's a very important as well. If you get these ideas in your mind, I believe around 5 to 10 questions of your PMP are well taken care because it's an important task in your people domain. So now we are at a section where we can talk about your queries, maybe queries related to lead a team or maybe beyond that. It is not limited to lead the team only, but it goes far, far more than that as well. I have some queries, I can take care of them. So the question is coming, is the project manager wearing the hat of Scrum Master as well? So in a PMP exam perspective, we may not focus on the term called Scrum Master. We focus on the activities which is sometimes getting associated with the Scrum Master. So if you are thinking Scrum Master as a servant leader, we expect all the leaders to be a servant leader, and definitely a project manager as a servant leader. So when I'm working as a project manager, I need to demonstrate caring attitude. That's my principle, caring and respecting of my team members and stakeholder. I need to focus on, in a modern way of working, I can only get done work when I inspire people, I collaborate with them, I resolve their problem. Now, if I technically speak, is it the same leadership style which we learn in a Scrum? I would say may not be, little bit different, because here there is an explicit focus on change based on situation. Here it is explicit focus on that one style will not work all the time. So we need to see how, because we need to match the frequency as well. Sometimes when you are learning Scrum, you only see a one type of leadership. But here we are saying, yeah, you need to focus more on collaborative and servant leadership style. But there could be a situation where you need to behave differently. The another thing which usually looks different to me in a nutshell, working with the different motivators. So here we go into more detail and understand different people get motivated in a different way. So we need to take care of those motivation as well. More focusing on political awareness and influence of people, how someone can influence outside, someone can influence inside, and using those influences for the project good. So yes, it's a leadership overall. The Scrum Master is also expected to demonstrate leadership at a team level, and the project manager is also a leader. They also need to exhibit the leadership. And I personally believe we can call it modern way of doing leadership rather than Scrum way of doing leadership or PM way of doing leadership. I think this is something which is a demand of today's world, and that's why the exam content outline also talks about that. Yeah. Okay, so time to bring more questions here in case you have, so that we can explore it together. The process is simple. You just need to put it in your area, wherever you are, in the YouTube or in the LinkedIn, and the question will reach us, and I will try to share my view on it, maybe a limited view, but yes, a view. It takes little time. Yeah, that's the whole thing, because it takes a few, I think 30 to 40 seconds before things comes here. So yes. Great, Raman. Nice to see you here. So we can say that is the new PMP certification is more towards Agile Project Manager. So I would say the new is not that new anymore. It's at 2021 now. It's around more than 2+ years, 21, 22, 23, around 2.5 years. And I would say how PMI works, they do periodic research to check what is prevailing in the industry. And based on that, they figure it out. If we want to create good project managers, what kind of competencies they should have. So if their 3-year-old survey demonstrated good amount of competencies related to adaptive way of working, demonstrating flexibility, being servant leader, all these are prevailing and important, they bring that into exam content outline. So PMP exam is not static, it's pretty agile. Yeah, it is just that it has a little lag time, which means it is not like before the trend become popular, PMI evangelize it. That's not they are going to do for a PMP exam. Once trend becomes stabilized, they want to make sure the people who want to get ready for project management, they need to learn it. So my take here is the agile related concepts or trend, so good number of them became quite stable, and that's why they are inside the PMP exam, because that is what they are in the industry. So this is how the whole follow will continue there. Okay, so what is the best way to motivate a team member without demotivating others in the team? So exam answer, the real answer, you need to figure it out based on your team dynamics and the maturity. It is little complicated because we have a different cultures in the team. If the people always feel we have a good model called tribal leadership, which helps us in seeing it. So if we have a group which is always worried about someone is getting better than me and all the problems are happening with me, then I probably need to take them first beyond that and start focusing on collaboration. So that could be some groundwork before even we go to a motivational problem, that how people feel about each other. Do they feel that we are here together to solve problem and help each other? If I have achieved that, some percentage of problem has been solved. But if they are still thinking I am the only one who is contributing here and everyone is wasting time, and I keep reminding I am the best and that guy is not best, then whatever scheme I will bring, that is going to be a troublesome. That's my take to start with. But if you are dealing with this question in the PMP exam, then they will focus on that you need to keep the reward and recognition process pretty transparent and make sure that you are not doing things which are not very clearly evaluatable and may have a consensus or some amount of feedback from the people who are impacted for the team in order to decide the reward and recognition. So transparency and engagement in order to decide reward and recognition can help you in creating the system which is not demotivating other, because they have seen the justification and they have, like, they are part of the whole process. So that's a nice answer if you are dealing with the PMP exam. If you are dealing with the real situation, I think you need to do a groundwork first before you go to the reward and recognition problem, because yeah, if the groundwork is not there, then it might still be a problem. Yeah. So if the development team is constantly underperforming, how do you handle the situation as a project manager? So if you get this question in the PMP exam, how do you handle it? That's the thing. In a real world, it's a complicated thing. Yeah, it depends upon various factors. Now I need to see the 4 choices. I'm sticking to a PMP content only. What are the choices and what is the best choice out of it? Fortunately, in a PMP exam, I have 4 choices. I don't have to write the description there because the whole situation is also not in front of me. What are the good choices? What should I do? What are the possible good things? I try to understand what is lacking here. Do they need training? Do they need mentoring? Do they need something? Yeah. Is it a lack of competency? Is it a lack of resources? Is it a lack of not understanding the clear goal? Is it because of the carelessness? Or they are stuck because of dependencies in other areas? So without having that clarity, I can't go forward. So one of the best answer, if available, could be that I will conduct a retrospective with them. I will conduct a lesson learned with them. And in that lesson learned or retrospective meeting, I will just bring facts on the table and we will do a brainstorming together. How do we deal with this situation? Underperforming is my perception or it's a common perception of the whole team. It might be my alone perception also, or I might not be empathizing well. That's why I'm thinking this is an underperformance. So my first and foremost thing is we need to make sure that we have a common understanding of our current performance. Whatever you call it, under or over, there should be a common understanding of our current performance with the help of facts and figures. So I bring that on the table and then I ask people, how do we get moving? What do we do about it? So I alone should not be solving that problem. I need to engage the whole team in solving the problem. Now, if I don't see those 2 options, then what are the other options? I can see what is there in my control, which I believe I can remove. If they may have a lot of impediments and issues, which might be blocked to me, I need to first see, is there a set of issues which are open for me? I need to better get them closed. Do we have a clear communication mechanism in the team? I get that established. Do we have a clear feedback mechanism in the team? Do they know that they are underperforming? If that is not there, I need to get that thing moving. So in general, what could be a negative answer? What you should not do? Taking care of individuals' performance, asking status every other day, those are wrong option. Maybe giving them stringent targets, giving them more challenging work, not a good idea. So I should be considering these things as a wrong option, and I should be considering the fact-based, collaborative, decision-making, problem-solving, retrospective, lesson learned. These all are good options, but rest depends upon my 4 choices in the case of PMP exam. Okay. So one question. So where does PMP certified PMs are fitting in the agile ways of working? So I would say one is the positioning of PMP and another is the capability of a person. We can't equate all PMP certified people in a similar way. There might be some PMP certified people who are doing great project management. You might be dealing with some PMP certified project manager who are failing in their project management. Project management is an act of leadership, which is not very clear cut, straightforward ABCD process. It's more about demonstrating emotional intelligence, buying stakeholder engagement, trust, yeah, creating trust inside the team, creating trust with the stakeholders, and coming up together to solve a problem. If I have a capability to create trust in the team and the stakeholder and create an open environment for conversation, with PMP certification or without PMP certification, also I will succeed. That's the whole idea. Now, the certification is a process of learning some of these elements, and then you need to grow them. You can't just get it just by doing the certification. So that is something we differentiate. It is just not a certificate which defines a professional. The second thing is, yes, so what is a positioning? How PMI probably want to position the PMP certified people right now? My take, the way I see the content outline and the design of PMP certification, the PMI is probably positioning the PMP certified project manager, the capable professionals who can adapt to the changing environment and who can create the right process which is suitable for the business goal. Not an agile process, not a predictive process, probably a hybrid process. So it is like that you are getting an understanding of possible building blocks which can be used in order to deliver a solution. Now, when you have a problem at hand, you need to deal with it. More and more, when I'm talking to agile project delivery, the multi-team working is common. The projects are complex, and one team, one department, one vendor is not able to deliver the overall value. And when I talk, deliver, and work with many teams who are following agile, I always see there is a struggle in multi-vendor management. And they need a dependency management, they need an overall handling which might look like some element of knowledge which is coming from a predictive way of working, a Gantt chart and all. That is becoming pretty much a desired skill for agile way of working also when it comes to multi-vendor dependency management. Even the tools like Jira and all also adding like roadmap and all, which has some element of that way of working. So that's what I see. The positioning is that you are capable of delivering value and you can choose the right process for your context. You tailor the process for your context, and that's the one of the principle also. You need to tailor the things as per context. You just don't take agile, predictive, or XYZ and say this is we will use. You say, okay, what is the value and what we should use. Yeah, so great. I think great ideas. Another one or two question maybe, and then we are done. I know it was a lot of information in a short span. When I talk to my people, my class in the PMP space, I keep reminding them that I'm making you study a little bit more detail in the predictive life cycle as well. And you may think that I'm working in the agile world, it doesn't make sense for me. I keep reminding that we need it because I see many of these skills are needed when you work in a multi-team environment. And there is a highly likelihood some of the teams are milestone based. They are not backlog based. Some of the teams are board based. So you have different things. And don't assume that whoever needs to work in a multi-team environment, they will use scaled agile framework. That is also very, very difficult. Yeah. So many times you have a situation where you are, the safe way of working is not suitable to you and you can't work in a single team. You need to deal with multiple teams and you have your own challenges and process. It's not a, you can do things in a joint planning meeting. Even you don't want to share one team information with another team information because there are different vendors. So in those kind of situations, which I am facing more and more frequently nowadays, and I see the people are using the mix of approaches. They have their own challenges, but they are improving it there. And as a project manager, if I have a competency in all those areas, I can help it there. So what is the best feature in the project management? Yeah, so I would say go for exam content outline. Yeah, my simple take is, if I want to understand what is the content, what is the characteristics, what is the role of a project manager, PMI has done that study for us. Even if I'm not doing PMP exam, but I can look at exam content outline. They are putting time and money investment to find out what is needed in the industry for the project manager. Now, many times what I see is people may not relate to their project. This is, in my company, all this is not needed. In my company, this is only needed from the project manager. So say when the PMI is doing study, they are not doing a study only considering your company and your type of company. There are significant amount of variances in the industry. So when I am talking about project management as a professional, and when I'm picking up PMP exam content outline for the study, I am understanding what generically used in the industry, so that I am building my capability, looking at various types of projects which I may not have handled them right now, or various type of situation which may be coming in future. So I develop my capability to handle different type of projects by using possible competencies and skills which are there in the industry. So that's the value of doing study of PMP exam content outline. With certification, without certification, you can decide. And our goal is outcome oriented. When we teach PMP, we focus on building your competency. Certification anyway gets done in the way. Yeah. Okay. So please don't think that this skill is a project management traditional skill, and this skill is agile thing. Agile things are needed to so-called traditional project manager, and the traditional project management skills are also needed to so-called agile managers, whatever word you will use. But that's the kind of converging is happening. Okay, looks like we are reaching to the end of our session. I just take a minute pause in case someone has a question, else we close the conversation. This seems to be the, yes, this seems to be the third Friday of the month. Yeah. So as we have a rule, the last Friday of the month, we have a generic a live session. So next Friday, we will be discussing certifications and other stuff. It will happen more or less on the same time, 1 hour delayed. So it will be starting at this time around rather than starting 1 hour before. And after that, we will resume talking about our PMP tasks. So in general, the trend is every Friday we have a session. Last Friday, we focus on open Q&A, and the remaining Fridays, we focus on PMP exam, and we pick up some content and take care of your queries. So next Friday, it's a generic one. Okay, so thank you everyone for participating in today's session. Please feel free to put your comments. If you have some specific query, we can continue talking in the comment section on LinkedIn or on YouTube. And please do look at the previous recordings if you are preparing for PMP exam, especially because they have significant amount of knowledge for your PMP exam at least. It's a 10 sessions done. These 10 sessions itself can help you getting, say, around 25 to 30% of your PMP exam questions. So take care of them, and gradually we'll build more and more as we go along. Yeah. Thank you, and bye for now. See you after a 1 week gap.